What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of At a Glance, a series in which I give you an appetizer, sample, or a glimpse into a particular faction in 40k, and the goal of it is to help you decide if that is a force that you potentially want to look into further and maybe collect, be it your first force or your second, third, fourth, fifth, doesn't matter, force. So up on the chopping block this time is orks, specifically speed freaks, because they're my favorite type of orcs. And speed freak orcs are not just one particular tribe or clan, whatever you want to call it. The Evil Sons tribe, clan thing is most often associated with speed freaks. They have a similar color scheme going on, similar tendencies, and they have the most amount of speed freaks in their clan. But other orc groups, such as the Goths and the Bad Moons and whatnot, also have speed freaks amongst them. Speed freaks are just a part of the orc culture, essentially. Now, what speed freaks are essentially their own sub-faction. These are orcs who are wholly obsessed with going fast. All orcs like a good fight, Daka, and going fast, and the speed freak orcs are just utterly obsessed with speed, in the air or on the ground. I'm going to talk about it most about ground forces, because with the air it's a pretty simple thing to figure out. Just take the fighter or the bomber or whatever it is, you paint it up red, which is something I'll get into a little bit later, and you're basically good to go. But ground forces, that's what most people think about more innately when they think speed freaks, so I'm going to go into that. Now, the speed bug, you could say, will basically take root in any orc. It will infect any orc of any stature. It can be a war boss, a mech boy, a weird boy, a storm boy even, you could say, mega knobs, flash gits, whatever. They can just get obsessed with going fast. And it's not that they have to physically themselves run as fast as they can necessarily. It's the fact that they want to hear the noise of the vehicle, and they want the vehicle to be fast and loud and dangerous. So that's what they want. And a Mega Knob can utilize a transport just as effectively as regular orc boys. So you could have Mega Knob speed freaks. Now, with that, orcs paint their stuff red to go faster, and that's what speed freaks do for everything they got, basically. Because in orc culture, the red stuff does indeed go faster. A red truck will go faster than a non-red truck, and there's reasons behind it that I'm not going to get into here. That's part of their fluff and lore, and that's if anything, a ramble for another time. But they do indeed go faster when their stuff is painted red. That's why you have the red paint job upgrade in the orc codex. So basically, the force is orc boys and trucks, orc bikes, and that's typically your core. From there, you have things like death copters, battle wagons with occupants inside, storm boys maybe, orc war buggies and war tracks and things of that nature. Just things that can be mechanized, things that aren't very staticky. So the big gun emplacement type stuff that orcs have, I wouldn't recommend that for your speed freak force, but I would recommend Mega Knobs. They can take a transport, and from there they can get stuck in just as fast as everybody else. So you're basically playing mechanized orcs, but it has a special name and a special fluff about it. Think Mad Max, orc ramshackle look, kind of has that going on, and Speed Freak Force very much is like a Mad Max roving vehicle warband. I've even seen people convert up orc war rigs for their battle wags and stuff, and it looks pretty cool. But anyways, where was I? I completely lost track because of Mad Max. But anyways, think that, but with orcs and stuff painted red to go faster. And you basically have your orc speed freak army. So, with that being said, remember, when in doubt, bikers and boys and trucks are always a good addition to whatever else you have in your list. Death copters are cool too. Storm boys, I feel, fit in. It really depends on how open-ended you want to be, or how restrictive you want to be on yourself with what you include. As long as it can be mechanized, I say, hey, go for it. Why not? Now, with that being said, Mega Knobs they have the clout and the power and the prestige enough, you could say, to commandeer a fast truck, so they can be a part of that if they're obsessed with speed. So that's why I include them in there. And Flash gets, yeah, they're kind of freebooter type orcs, but they could be obsessed with speed too. You could have a pirate orc force that's obsessed with speed. Why not? Anyways, when it comes to a codex, clearly you're going to be utilizing the orc codex. That's how you're going to get your crazy speed freak force going. When it comes to models, GW stuff clearly is going to work. Forgel stuff that looks cool will work for you. Trucks, battle wagons, the whole shebang is going to be very cool. Now, there's things that people like to do, which is essentially loot kits. It's the ultimate in kit bashing and scratch building and converting. And orc players, to their credit, a lot of them like to do this, and it's really cool looking when they do it. And they'll take things like an old Rhino kit that maybe they had lying around that was partially built or which is itself a cannibalized kit, and utilize pieces of that in conjunction perhaps with orc trucks bits, or even bits from model cars of the appropriate scale. And they'll just smash it all together with green stuff and plastic art and stuff like that, and what they'll get is a cool looking I should say, vehicle, like a looted Rhino look or a looted vehicle type of truck. It's cool, it's more time intensive, it's going to potentially cost you a bit more money to buy all the stuff you need if you don't have stuff laying around for that. You can even use like old toys that you may have from growing up and whatnot that are kind of broken and might not be worth anything to keep. You can do some conversions with that as well for your looted vehicles and whatnot. So if you're going to do that, what I recommend doing is knowing the footprint of an orc truck and an orc battle wagon, since those tend to be the things that get converted. Know the footprint. So if you're going to have the orc truck kit to utilize with something else, use blue tack and very temporarily assemble the framework for the orc truck just to see how long it is and how wide it is. Measure it out and try to stay within those confines. If you have to go bigger, try not to go too much bigger. Don't try to make an orc truck that's custom built the same size as a battle wagon. I know it sounds silly, but the better you're able to keep things in footprints, the easier it is just for your opponents and even yourself to keep track of what's what. Especially if your plan is to not have the normal orc truck or orc battle wagon look. Again, it's a cool thing. I definitely like when I see orc players that do it. It's crazy what some of these orc players can do in terms of making looted vehicles and their own orc trucks and orc battle wagons that look way cooler than even the kits look. And I do like the way the kits look. My recommendation to you, however, if this is maybe your first force you're getting into 40k with, or you're not too certain how crazy you're going to be about the orc speed freaks, how crazy you want to get with it, take it slow, collect them, use the normal kits. If anything, you could always make your force bigger and add some crazy converted stuff later, and then just sub it out and utilize the crazy converted stuff over the normal looking kits for certain point size games and everything, right? So if you had, let's say, 1500 points and you really like speed freaks, you can make an even bigger force, and then when you're playing 1500 point games, you can use the newer converted crazy looked stuff that you have and not the normal kits. But don't think you have to go on the deep end and do that. The normal kits look just fine, and you can do some subtle conversion stuff with the normal kits to get some pretty cool looking things as well without going crazy with looting rhinos and land raiders and whatever else. So with that being said, one thing to keep in mind, however, if you're going to take, let's say you have extra rhino doors laying around and you're going to use that with maybe some green stuff or plastic art and glue it to your truck or battle wagon somewhere. Remember, speed freaks love the color red because it makes their stuff go faster. So if you're going to loot particular things from other factions, you could perhaps make it like a Blood Angels Rhino, or some other red Space Marine chapter like what's the another one, Blood Ravens, for example, or something along those lines. That way you can put this symbol on there if you want, and it shows, hey, your orc force fought or looted from one of these Space Marine chapters. And it can be kind of a fun jab at any of your buddies if they happen to play that force. If it's a Chimera piece you have extra, you can paint it up as an Inquisitorial Chimera because they utilize red as well. Or you can paint it up as a Mechanicum thing, right? Give the Mechanicum symbol, or make it red and put some binary markings on it, whatever, plus orc glyphs, and it just adds an accent in your force instead of just painting it up red or whatever else. If you make it look like it came from the enemy's tank that you presumably looted, I think the effect helps. You can even do it for non-red. I mean, standard orc players do this all the time as well, but speed freaks tend to do it where it's painted red. So that's just some food for thought there as well. And last thing I have to say on that front, and this goes for orcs in general, is that ramshackle look when it comes to painting can take longer than maybe you expected. So don't get disheartened if that's the case. Anyways, Speed Freaks, it's basically the Orc Mad Max army of 40k, and they're pretty cool. So check them out further if you want to. There's more fluff on them and the cult of speed that they're obsessed with, and it may be a force that you would enjoy to collect. So who knows? Anyways, that's it for At a Glance for the Speed Freaks. Thanks for sticking through it. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comment section. And until next time, take it easy.